Hey Sioux Falls, Shannon Awesome here with 2021 street construction information. Woo! So we're excited to bring Brad Ludens and Josh Peterson to our show today. They're going to give us an overview of what's going to happen this summer. So we're going to start with Josh Peterson. Josh, a lot of stuff's going on. Last year we thought we couldn't beat last year, but we have a good start so far, don't we?
Oh yeah, we're going to have another big program this year. A lot of good projects going to be working on and really improving our street network this year.
Wonderful. So I'm going to start with my favorite project from 2020, which was the 26th Street and Southeastern Avenue, Burlington Northern Overpass, as well as the interchange improvements. Now all lanes are open to traffic, but what can our drivers expect at that location this year?
Yep, we still got some work to wrap up that project. We work until about midsummer this year. Everything's going to stay open while we're finishing things up. There's going to be some lane closures that move around as we need to, but we got to do some work to finish up the river bridge there. They're still working on the railing and some of the surface finish on there, okay. And we got to work on some bridge ends and things like that. So you'll see some work up there, but a lot of the work is going to happen underneath the bridge. We got to finish doing the streetscaping, landscaping. There's an access road that goes underneath there to connect the Rotary Park with the parking lot on the south side, and so we'll be working on a lot of that stuff. But fortunate for drivers, everything's going to stay open till we wrap up the project.
Well, on that project, I'm excited to actually see some permanent pavement markings put down, because this winter there's a lot of people not quite for sure to know which lane I'm supposed to be in, and it's a very unique intersection to open up, and so it's without a lot of pavement markings. It's been a little bit fun going through there.
Yep. We'll get the permanent down. It'll help direct traffic. We recognize it's a big change from what was there before, and so we want to make sure people understand what lanes they need to be in and get through there safely.
Very good. So another one that will not necessarily impact the surface, but certainly underneath the bridge, is the 8th Street Bridge. And it seems like there's pretty much done, but what is still left on the 8th Street Bridge downtown?
Yep, we got that one opened up this last fall as well. So traffic on 8th Street has been restored. There might be some periodic lane closures as we finish up a little work on the bridge with some of the surface finish and the painting and some of the lighting. But once again, it's going to stay open throughout till we're all done. Just like 26 and Southeastern, the majority of the work's going to be happening underneath. They're actually working through this winter to continue with the bike trail work and the river wall underneath the bridge, and they're going to continue that as weather allows, and then we'll really dig into it this spring to get that all wrapped up. The interpretive wall that's going to be underneath the bridge on the west bank as well, we'll work on that. And then we've got the alley behind Equity Square that goes between 8th and River Road that'll be paved as well.
So there's a lot of little stuff to keep them busy then.
Yep. It'll be a busy spring, but like I said, 8th Street's going to stay open during that, but we will have to continue to detour the bike trail until we get that all wrapped up.
So if you haven't driven, drivers, if you haven't driven it on 8th Street at night, it's just beautiful with the beautiful lighting that's on the railings. Is there any more lighting that's anticipated with the structure?
Yep, we got the lighting on top of the bridge completed here this fall, but we're still working on the underlighting that's going to light up the arches when we're all done. So the contractor's working on that, and that'll be something that'll wrap up in early spring to midsummer, and that's going to be something neat, similar to what you see with other downtown. We can program the different colors, and for special events, it's going to really highlight the bridge and be something special.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited about that, because you just don't know how much of it just pops at you when you're driving across it at night. It's very nice. All right, well, now I'm going to take us to the south and west side of the city on 49th Street. We had a project a few years back on 49th Street and Louise, and now we're going to basically start where we left off a few years ago and go, I think it's Arrowhead Avenue over to Oxbow, which is where the signal is. So tell our viewers what's going to happen there.
Yep. As part of that work on Louise Avenue, we're really upgrading the storm sewer under there. That's an area of town that has a lot of storm water that we need to move efficiently off the roadway. And we dead-ended a major box culvert underneath the roadway at the east side of that intersection. So now we're going to pick that up and we're going to take that water all the way to the Oxbows there by Oxbow Street.
Okay.
So a big 12 by 5 foot box culvert underneath the roadway that's going to help get that water to the storm system. Along with that, we're going to take the opportunity to all new pavement through that section. We'll have some new concrete pavement. We'll upgrade the other utilities as well. So it'll be not a very long as far as blocks go, but it'll be a nice improvement there.
So when you say 12 by 5, do you mean 12 feet wide and 5 feet tall?
Yep.
So that's an odd size, isn't it, for a typical drainage pipe?
It's big. It's because we don't have a lot of depth there, so we need to keep it shallow, but we've got a lot of water to move, so we get it wide. And so that's why instead of a round storm sewer pipe, we've got a big box culvert there.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So then also with that project a few years ago, we had a 8-foot side path on the south side of 49th Street. Are we going to continue that side path to Oxbow?
Yes.
So that'll be a nice added feature again for our bike community.
Yep.
And will that project be under construction the entire year?
No, that one, it starts up this spring, and we're anticipating that to be done by about mid-August.
Okay. Oh, so that'll be good. Unusual for a construction project.
Yep, we're trying to get an early start on that one.
Okay.
We got the contract signed here right away in January, so the contractor can do a lot of prep work and get all their materials in place so they can get a jump start on it when weather allows this spring.
Oh, very good. So then hooking up to 49th Street at Western, you know, we've been talking about the 49th Street extension for many, many years. The first segment that we were working on was from Western to West. How is that progressing? Do you think we'll see maybe some work done this year? Or
We're wrapping up negotiations to get the final right-of-way for that here, and hoping to wrap that up here this spring, and then we're going to if that all comes together, then we're hoping to start construction on that late spring to midsummer-ish.
And that won't necessarily impact traffic because it's between Western and West. So
yep, there's no street there right now, so thankfully we can kind of dig into that without impacting traffic.
Oh, very good. All right, so one of the other projects I believe that'll be wrapping up in 2021 is Marion Road from Madison Street to Maple Street. And so again, for our new high school that's going to be open this fall, what is left to do out on Marion Road?
The roadway is done. We'll be coming back in here this spring once weather allows us. We'll be doing the final pavement markings, and we had to do some coordination with Excel. They've got some major power poles that run alongside there that needed to be relocated. So we've been coordinating with them. They're going to get in here late winter and get those relocated. And once that's done, then we can finish up our sidewalk installation and our landscaping there. So.
Oh, wonderful. So just about done then.
Yep. Okay. Similar. It's going to be open to traffic while we wrap things up, but you'll see some lane closures as we're working on that east side.
Okay. So then the last project that I want to just touch on briefly is 33rd Street and Minnesota Avenue. So that intersection is going to be under construction. Can you give our viewers an indication of what's going on there?
Yep. That intersection has some pavement that's in really tough shape there, so we need to get that reconstructed. Continuing with what you've seen on Minnesota here the last few years, we're identifying the areas where pavement is in rough shape, getting that reconstructed. So that intersection, we'll have lane closures on Minnesota Avenue, but we are going to have to close 33rd Street, the east and west legs, one at a time, because of some significant utility work that we're doing, and just to provide space for the contractor to work. It'll help expedite that and get that intersection opened up as soon as possible. Along with the intersection, we're also doing some upgrades to some of the sidewalk ADA ramps along the corridor that we haven't had a chance to upgrade. And then there will also be some joint repairs on Minnesota Avenue in that stretch as well.
So definitely will be impacting our Minnesota Avenue traffic.
Yep. We're going to be having to reduce traffic to one lane in each direction. So people be aware there's going to be some delays there, and if you've got alternate routes that you can take, I suggest you explore those.
Okay. Well, is there anything else, any other project that you'd like to mention before we move on to Brad?
Just Just one kind of a public-private partnership, maybe worth mentioning. A lot of people have been maybe keeping an eye on or hearing about the rail yard relocation project. We finally have our first developer there. Is working on it, Rail Yard Flats there, just on the north side of 8th Street. We've got a good public-private partnership where we're going to be working on this spring. In coordination with that, we're going to do some streetscaping along 8th Street in conjunction with the new development, and then we're also going to be installing a bike trail that goes between 6th and 8th Street. Ultimately, we want to have a loop for the bike trail that goes through that development, and this will be the first phase of that. So it's a good example of us working with developers to come up with some public improvements.
Right. Well, and it's great that we're putting that land to use.
Yep, it's good to see phase 1 start kicking off on that.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we are going to bring Brad Ludens in next.
All right, thank you.
Don't be slippin'. Not your grade in high school geometry slippin'. More like icy road slippin'. We know winter weather can make driving conditions tough. That's why it's always important to be prepared. Keep an emergency kit in your vehicle. Check road reports for closings or hazardous conditions. Don't crowd the plow. And be aware of your surroundings in case of a breakdown, because you never know what's out there. Take this winter by the wheel. Stay safe, stay warm, and stay on the road. Minnehaha County Highway Department, celebrating 100 years of happy highways.
So our next victim is Brad Ludens, who also knows a lot about our street construction. And we're going to just start right away with Arrowhead Parkway. Brad, we've been on Arrowhead Parkway in the past. We have some work going on 6 Mile Road. Can you give our viewers an indication of what the limits are for this year's project?
Well, what we're hoping to do this year is reconstruct Arrowhead Parkway from about half mile west of 6 Mile Road to about a half mile east of 6 Mile Road. And then as part of that project, we're going to realign 6 Mile Road so that it intersects Arrowhead Parkway closer to a 90-degree angle. And the whole purpose behind that is just to make the intersection safer for both motorists and pedestrians as they work their way through the intersection.
Yeah, there's been quite a few crashes there.
Yep.
So that project, do you think we'll start construction this year?
Well, we're currently in right-of-way negotiations right now, so we're working through negotiating with property owners for the right-of-way and easements that we need to construct the project. So we're hopeful that construction could potentially start as soon as this summer sometime. Okay. And then we would be able to work through the summer, and then probably, assuming we can start this summer, we'd hopefully be able to get the project completed by the end of 2022.
Okay, so it'd fall into the next
Yes.
year. Okay. And certainly we encourage people to stay tuned to our website so they can keep up on the updated for the project.
Yep, we'll provide updates as they become available.
Okay, so staying on the east side but going to the south, 69th Street and Sycamore Avenue, we had work done there again previously. We kind of stopped short to do some drainage work, but what's going to happen on 69th and Sycamore?
So essentially what we're going to do at 69th and Sycamore is kind of complete the little loop there where, like you said, we've left off in years past. We're going to be installing a box culvert similar to what Josh talked about on 49th Street there east of Louise.
Okay.
This one's not going to be quite as big as that one, but we still have to have a lot of water that we need to convey through the area. And then what we'll do is continue the 4-lane section that's on 69th Street. We'll continue that through the Greystone Avenue intersection, and then we'll narrow it down to just 2 lanes through Sycamore Avenue, and we'll go to about a quarter mile east of Sycamore Avenue, and then we'll connect to the north to that asphalt on Sycamore Avenue up there. So we'll have a nice loop around there for motorists finally.
And that'll be great because there's so much development that's coming down from 57th Street, so that'll be a welcome addition to the neighborhood. All right, so now I'm going to bring you up to the north and west side of the city, which is by Interstate 90 and Marion Road. Lots of activity going on there.
Yep.
What is going on up there?
Well, the city's got 2 projects that are going to be going on in that area this summer, plus there's a couple of private development projects that are happening. As far as the city goes, probably the bigger one is the work that we're doing in conjunction with the State Department of Transportation at the I-90 interchange. What we're going to be doing there is widening the westbound off-ramp to help accommodate some of the increase in traffic that we're expecting with Amazon building their facility up in that area. And we'll also be adding traffic signals to both the eastbound and westbound ramps in order to, again, help deal with that increased traffic. And then in addition to that, the city will also be widening Marion Road at the south leg of Foundation Court, which the Sioux Falls Development Foundation will have a project this year to kind of finish that loop through Foundation Park to get that loop road connected on both sides into Marion Road. And the city will be working to add a turn lane and widen the intersection on the south side of the Amazon property. And then, of course, Amazon's got their site development going on, but as part of their development, they are adding some turn lanes and a traffic signal at their main entrance as well to help handle all of the traffic expected for their workers there.
So when are our projects supposed to be completed up there?
The city projects will be completed either late summer or early fall. Like I said, we've got a couple different things going on with those traffic signals and things like that, some longer lead times, but the road work will be done mid-summer, and then those traffic signals, depending on how quickly the contractor can get those ordered and delivered, will lag a little bit behind that, but should get completed this year yet.
So what about when is Amazon going to be open for business? Is that also this fall sometime?
No, the last I've heard, Amazon's probably not going to be open for business until early 2022, but I don't know exactly what those dates are, but I would look for potential of early 2022 opening for Amazon.
So, and then with the development that's just been recently announced to the north of there's just so much going on up there, and not necessarily impacting a lot of our drivers today, but once they do open, it'll be an interesting area.
Yep, we've been working in conjunction with our planning department and with the state, and of course with the developers. When you have those size of projects with those type of traffic impacts, we have to do some planning, and we need to get all these improvements in place prior to opening, so that once we do get those facilities opened up and get that traffic on there, that we're not creating any bottlenecks or backlogs.
Right. So hopefully will there be more construction, do you think, then in years to come, then, to maybe take Marion Road all the way north to
we're starting to look at between Amazon and then the other facility that'll be potentially coming in. We're looking at working with the state and the county to potentially pave Marion Road going north to the Crooks Renner Road to provide another paved way in and out of Foundation Park to potentially handle some traffic that might be going to the north.
Okay. Well, now I'm just taking you all around the city. So now I'm thinking about the south side of the city on Minnesota Avenue, 57th Street to the south, I think to Ralph Rogers. We have some work going on there then also?
Yep. If any of our viewers are familiar with that stretch of Minnesota Avenue, we know that it's just 4 lanes wide. So if you're going south and wanting to turn left into some of those businesses along Minnesota Avenue, unfortunately we have a relatively high incidence of rear-end accidents in that location. So with the pavement kind of starting to become deteriorated, we're going to take the opportunity to widen Minnesota Avenue and add a center turn lane through that section. And then also with that project, we're going to add a traffic signal at Ralph Rogers Road to help with some of the traffic from the neighborhood to the west there also.
That'll be a really welcomed addition also for our bike and ped group they always want to get, Ralph Rogers is a bike trail. So. And to
kind of go along with that, right now there's just the sidewalk on the east side of Minnesota Avenue, and that will be reconstructed with the project. We'll be adding a 8-foot wide bike path from St. Andrews Drive down to Ralph Rogers Road, and then we'll also be adding sidewalk on the west side of Minnesota Avenue to help increase the accessibility to the bike trail and other parts of the city for that neighborhood in that area.
Yeah, very good. So adding certainly well-needed improvements. So that used to be a Department of Transportation state highway. So maybe when we grew down that way, that development certainly wasn't there. And Oh, very good. All right. So there is some concrete rehab work going on Kiwanis Avenue. What are the limits on Kiwanis?
Yep, we'll see some work on Kiwanis Avenue this year between 12th Street and 41st Street, and we're kind of have some new methods that we're kind of doing to kind of rehabilitate that concrete pavement there. The first section, that section of Kiwanis was originally constructed in several phases, in the early to mid 90s, starting in 1992 or so, I think. And we really haven't done a lot of work on that concrete pavement since that time. So We're going to be doing some full depth and partial depth concrete repairs in that section, and those partial depth repairs is something we've done a little bit of that in Sioux Falls, but it's something that's relatively new, and trying to experiment with that a little bit to maybe find a more cost-effective way to rehabilitate some of our concrete pavements. And then we're also going to be doing some diamond grinding. If you drive certain sections of that piece of Kiwanis Avenue, you'll hear that thump, thump, thump as your tires hit those joints.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to do something that we call diamond grinding, where we're going to take a very fine grinder and basically try to smooth out some of those bumps and try to make some of those transitions a little bit smoother, so that we, I don't know if we'll eliminate it totally, but we'll certainly reduce that thumping that those motorists hear as they're driving down Kiwanis Avenue.
Have we done that before in Sioux Falls?
We've done some very small areas. In fact, on Kiwanis Avenue, probably 3, 4, or 5 years ago, we did do just about a block long. There was some complaints about that thumping that we investigated and kind of tried out this diamond grinding. We did a little bit last summer also downtown in conjunction with a concrete project near 13th and Phillips, but this will be by far the largest diamond grinding project that we've done in the city.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how well it works then.
Yes, it will.
All right, well, our last project is actually a downtown project, Phillips Avenue from 14th Street to 18th Street.
Yes.
What is the scope of that?
Well, what we're doing there is we're going to fully reconstruct that section of Phillips Avenue, including all the underground utilities. And really the impetus behind that project was almost exactly a year ago. We had a big water main break down near 17th Street. So we had to do some emergency repairs last winter to get Phillips Avenue open back up. So with that, we started looking at the water main in that area is over 100 years old, and some of the utilities, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, potentially need some upgrades also. So what we really want to do is, take a hard look at that section and, upgrade those utilities, and then while we're there, just take care of the surfacing's not in the best shape either. So we'll do a full reconstruct, and that'll be a challenging project. There's a lot of apartments in that area, so we'll be taking a phased approach to that project, and residents in that area will be, very, very involved with a lot of communication with us as far as maintaining access to their homes during construction.
Well, it just goes to show you, a lot of our surfacing projects maybe sometimes are driven by what's underground. And when you have old infrastructure in the downtown area, we certainly take those opportunities to upgrade all that intersection.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time today.
All right. Thanks.
So there you have it, Sioux Falls. We have a lot of construction projects going on in 2021. And as always, please go to our website at siouxfalls.org. We have an interactive street construction map that you can click on the project location, and newsletters will come up, and you'll be able to get up-to-date information on where the project is at, how much the project was bid for, any potential detours, and then maybe even some photos of the projects. We try to keep you involved and informed as much as we can during the construction season. So until then, I'll see you on the streets.